and make the song. Love, buttons, things, stuff.
What do I have to do here?
What? Wow.
Go.
Welcome to the Everyday Sniper. You got Frank at Snipers Hide, and Chris from Riflecraft is here. We are here today. Oh, I can comment now. So I changed some things up a little bit. I had been playing with the TheHideTV, using their thing to go on YouTube because YouTube's been on, but I've been doing it through HideTV. So I just stuck everything back onto the eCam, so now I can actually respond and see the YouTube people and stuff.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. You're good.
Oh,
can you hear me?
The sound went off for a sec. I turned off the sound on my phone because I got a text, and then all of a sudden it got quiet.
So
super quiet.
Super quiet. I know. I'm like, I got up this morning, like 9 o'clock. I came in here to like start the computer and do the book image thing. Dude, my phone didn't stop until like 2 o'clock. And everybody who called talked for 45 minutes if they talked for a minute. So it was like insane.
Sometimes I hate the phone.
Yes. I was like, it was like, and then I had to do some things, so I had to go log into the VA, and my ID me didn't work. And then it was like an hour and a half for me to get somebody to reset my ID me because they had to look at me.
God.
Oh my God. And then the dude who did it was like Joe Gangster in Detroit, who was wearing this gaming, hey Rusted, who was wearing like this gaming headset. And Shooter says, thanks for the videos, Chris, that you've been posting. And
oh, yeah. Getting back, but let's hear Frank's story first.
Yeah. And so he was
Gangster.
he was slumped down in the chair, like really low. And then he had all the blur around him. And he literally was like, you want to use this email? I'm like, yeah. He goes, okay, thanks. I'll send you an email. And that was it. I waited over an hour for that.
Oh my God.
Right? And it's like, just to get into my account. And it was like, today just was the most frustrating day. Like, Laura had to go and do stuff, and then even her account was messed up. But it's like, everything we went to do today was like, no. And I was like, oh man. It was just so...
God, that's obnoxious. I hate days like that.
Yeah.
It seems like almost every day is like that. If you like, sometimes.
Right?
But,
and
yeah.
and then
we had a good day. So I was psyched about our shooting day yesterday. Every time we hang out, I feel better for a little bit. So that was really fun.
Hey, Moro Victor, how you doing? He took it in August of 23. That had to be right. The last class Mark did. He did a class in Fort Morgan in August of 23. That had to be that final Mark one, right when we finished and he had his heart attack right after. So, hey, Mr. Barros, how are you?
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. And so then I was going to tell you too, I spaced now, because I started reading and now I lost my brain. Yeah, where else was I saying that I had to do something, and then it,
you were at the VA, the gangster dude, and then, then he said something about the videos and podcasts.
Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. The video, the pistol video, the pistol. So exactly like I said, two people came in bitching that you weren't wearing eyes. And one of them goes, that guy's about to get his eye poked out. I'm like, dude, number one, they don't see the pepper popper you shot with the 2 mags. It's like he was shooting paper the entire time. He dumped 2 mags fast on a pepper popper from 25 yards away, and absolutely 2 of them came in. no iPro. And I'm like, dude, I shot the steel that
Yeah.
was on the video except for that one mag dump you did. Hey, Robbie.
Yeah, it was paper, and I get it. Like sometimes you have to accept the responsibility of not wearing eyes, and just
And
if
it was
something
like,
happens,
and
then
they're so
didn't wear 'em.
fucking like expert, you know, like if you're touching a pistol and shooting a plate, if you don't have eyes on, you're the biggest fucking jerk ever. It's like, dude, he was doing paper. The fucking paper was shot. There's 3 pages that were shot to shit. And then you did a mag
That's
dump.
okay. I mean, you're not
Yeah,
going to be like, "Halt, intruder! I need to
right.
put on eye protection."
Right. But they're like, you're shooting steel. It's
Um,
like, you barely shot the steel, and that pepper popper is only 3 feet tall and was pointed fucking down.
yeah, it's pointing downwards, but anyway, like
It
I
is. I
get it.
get
I
it.
get it.
I
But
do. But
um, one of these days I'll have an eye patch and I'll be yar.
yeah, right. You know,
Right.
but yeah,
Yar.
they just, it's just like the Sammy safety side of it is just like so crazy. I mean, there's dudes that are running around
Mhm.
shooting shit naked to say, I sleep naked, train as you fight, you know, and now, and this one dude's like, you know, you dropped a half a mag on a plate for a piece of video to say, ooh, look how I control the gun from like
Yeah.
25
I mean,
yards
it's good
out.
to see how people react, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that
But I called it.
if it's there's a lot of kind of shooting with pistols and carbines, I will wear glasses, but for that video, I didn't, and it's there, and I own it, and I accept responsibility. I don't. I
Yeah.
also think that we come from a generation, although they sound like they come from a generation too,
Yeah,
but
yeah. They
um,
do. We do come.
but
I come from the
we
generation that,
we
yeah,
come from a generation of you get skill and that augments some risk, and you can't augment the risk of something flying into your eyeball, but you also we grew up like, oh, I went out and broke my arm,
yeah.
and it's like, okay, cool, like when are we gonna do it again? Not, oh my god, now I'm gonna
Right. We need to
join a Me
jump
Too
higher.
group. And
Right. We'll make up an excuse like our BMX bike with no helmets jumping. We had a big hill in front of our house, so putting the ramp at the bottom of the hill was perfect. And we would be like, well, we need better support because the plywood flexed and didn't give us the launch, so I crashed and he broke his arm. Next time we'll do it
yeah,
better. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. But I
Yeah.
still think that way. And
Yeah.
now it's like, oh, now I'm gonna make a website of, blames somebody I broke my arm.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. That's
so
funny.
I get it. I get
I
it.
do too.
I've
Oh, I
also
totally. I
hurt
called
really
it
bad a lot.
because you
So
like as soon as I posted it, it wasn't even up 5 minutes, and you were like, "Hey, did anybody
yeah,
say anything?" I said, "No, they'll cry because you didn't have eyes on." And sure enough, the 2 comments were people crying that you didn't have eyes on, and it was like, dude,
that
he
didn't even
shot
cross my
paper
mind.
all day. It's like he shot paper
Yeah, it didn't
all
even cross my
day.
mind.
I was like, Chris,
Shit,
go
we were
go do it.
shooting that one gun when the ammo blew up, and we weren't wearing eyes. And I had like the metal all around the side of my face, but it didn't go near my eyes.
Which gun was that blew up?
Um,
Mine, you mean?
the steel
Oh, my
ammo, the
case.
two two
Yeah. The
three.
Seekins. Yeah.
Yeah,
When I blew the
that
Seekins
blew
up.
the
Yeah.
bolt out of it.
But I wear glasses and I shot the steel. And the thing is I
Yeah,
shot the rack and then I put the rack on there. And so you came over but I hardly shot. I didn't really shoot in the video. I just talked really. But some of the
you were my
image,
shooting double.
yeah, I was. And some of the video I shot and I wear glasses all the time. So I was the one by the steel. You were on the inside away
I have
from the steel.
glasses. I do.
I know. We
When we
do.
go out to the range, it's like, oh shit, we forgot all this stuff, and half the time I don't even put my ears on. I'm
No,
like, oh god,
right.
that
We
hurts.
always do that. I did it once with you. I had my ears up, and then you shot, and I went, "Oh shit, I got to lower my ears." But
Yeah,
yeah,
and in the
so that's
videos, you just see me go shoot, and then I go,
yeah. I do.
okay, let's keep talking.
I have what do you call it? Hey Frank, I know you're going to be packing up a bunch of rifles and move. Would you like a timeline history on them? What does that mean? Shooter, what do you mean? It
Oh,
says
like if
Frank.
you have like a collection, like can you tell a story about the rifles?
Okay, we're good. All right, darling. Thank you. Shooter, I'm not quite sure what you mean by a timeline or history on my rifles. What does that mean? I know where all my rifles came from. I don't have any that are like ancient history that I don't know the origin of them that I can think of. So I'm not sure what he's asking. So yeah, I don't know. I'll wait till he comes
Yeah, I
back.
think most like I mean Frank has a lot of rifles, but man, I like I'll get a lot and then they'll dwindle down a little bit, then I'll get a lot, but they're all just kind of like the stuff that we're using for work. So it's not like, ooh, I'm gonna put this on the wall. Uh, I would love to have a collection of like old, nice, whatever, but everything in here is like shit. I'm gonna pull out a barrel and drop a chassis, and
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the
it's
only
not.
really collectible that I have that'll, and when I move, it'll be out. I'm gonna put it out. Is like my PSR, the deployment kit. But I mean, everything I
Mhm.
have is if you go back in time, is gonna have some Genesis from GA Precision. Then I got the AWs, like I have the 1.0s and the 1.5s that I know the history of those. And I was actually just talking to somebody. I went to Mile High this week, and there was a guy there putting a covert together, and he had a covert case from the UK that he found. And I have the American Tourister. He had a Carlton, and so like him and I were talking and about like my because I have like 12 AIs that go back in time, and my AE I bought, well, Tom sold it to me when I used to go have lunch with him. And he sold me my first AI. It was an AE Mark One with a Schmidt on it. And he sold it to me packaged for $2,800. And like that's kind of like the stuff that I have historically. But I'm not a big collector or somebody who chases down a rear gun or anything. I kind of use all my shit and shoot it till I don't shoot it anymore, and then it sits there. But I mean, I have like the Gap guns that are the we did the buys, and then like my A5 stock, one of them is an original. So I have like I even have a Surgeon Action in here, a barreled action from Terry Cross. The Surgeon
Mm-hmm.
Action is number 11. I have suppressors
Cool.
and stuff with single digit numbers. That would be the only thing that, and like Laura was saying in the chat, the Noveskis, I have some pre John passing away Noveskis, including an upper or two still in the box. So I have stuff like that, but almost everything I shot, I didn't, of the PSR, I didn't shoot. The Noveskis aren't shot, but almost everything else has been shot. So I don't really have anything that's collecty until I die. Then people can say, because even like I had a couple AIs that I turned in, like I traded in, and like I had a AE Mark II, and when I traded it in for my Mark III, Diane like sold it as my rifle. So I didn't
Oh,
even.
so
Yeah,
they
you know what I
added
mean?
you
She went online and
a.
she's like, this was Frank's rifle. It went straight to him. I can. And Rusted's saying I should do a video. When I move Rusted, I'll have everything out in the studio. And I planned on putting the PSR in. And I can go from my AE and take you through. Because, like, the second rifle I bought from AI was my covert. So I went through the process to try to get Tom to sell me a covert and bring coverts in the US. And at the time, there was no coverts then in the US at all because of the suppressor. And then a true covert had a 14-inch barrel. And so that wasn't going to come in. And so they did the 16-inch barrel with the jet suppressor to make it legal here. Well, Tom sold me the AE to sort of placate me, and then I bugged him more, and then the coverts came in, and the covert was the next thing I bought. And then from there, I started buying other AIs that I actually would shoot because I want to say I mean Larry Vickers shot my covert because it was on a TV show. The only time my covert was ever shot was on the TV show. And so Vickers and Gunsight did a TV show with AI, And then I shot like the mile with him, and they switched ammo on me. So I had like zeroed it with like the 300 grainer, or the 250 rather. I zeroed it with the 250s, and then like they gave me 300s like at the moment of shooting it. And I'm like,
Oh
these
yeah.
aren't zeroed, and so that was the only time my covert got shot. What's Mr. Barrow saying? Question on a 6mm arc upper. Seekins or PSW? I would rather pick Seekins. Geisley is a great buy right now. Geisley's really good. Um, who would be? I would probably do a Sons of Liberty or a Ridgeline next to a Geisley. I would pick Seekins one because I think Seekins is fantastic. But right now, the hype, and Chris can jump in probably a little, the hype on an AR is that monolithic upper handguard, um, movement stability lockup. So they want to beat up on a handguard in a rifle without it flexing. And I know Sons of Liberty solved that really well. Seekins has always been very good because he has that good upper that he uses that's bag worthy. There was one other I looked at too. I got my Craddock, and I love my Craddock. It's an amazing upper. But Seekins, Geisley's good. I thought somebody in our atmosphere, in our universe, went to Geisley, and I was waiting for that person to get settled in before I went to them to get a 6 arc, because the 6 arcs are hard to find sometimes. And he left already and got poached by another company. So I was ready to go see him at SHOT Show to ask for a Geisley 6 arc, and he's gone. So Seekins would be that. Craddock would be one I would order. And then Sons of Liberty I really like. Which Sons of Liberty or Ridgeline? The Ridgeline
Is
guys from,
Ridgeline making 6 arcs?
I think so. I think they are, but
Yeah.
again, 6 arc is so hard to get because everybody's scooping them up because of they're using it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if Cobalt made 6 arcs open or something like that, but the upper kind of architecture is really good.
Yeah, yeah, and so I've been kind of looking at the Geisley, but I'm waiting for the Sons. I'm gonna end up getting a complete probably Sons of Liberty. I think because I really liked the 5.56 upper that I got.
That would
But
be that would be
yeah,
good.
just that's the only bitch. Is that the 6 arcs are hard to find in stock. And even finding one has been a pain in the neck, unless you do like a $4,000 complete gun. And at first I wasn't really
Mhm.
willing to do, because a Geisley's just so high end.
Mhm.
But
It'd be
yeah,
nice though. Yeah,
yes,
knowing somebody
yeah,
there would be good because that's a lot for
oh,
something.
totally, totally.
I took the SP10 out today. It was disassembled, but just speaking of the sequence,
Oh,
and
hey,
yeah, you
Laura, let me
can
see if,
yard on that thing.
Laura's down there. Um, because I went to dinner with Larry last night. And so I got the he 3D I'll get it. You talk for a minute. Let me go downstairs because she won't. I moved the bag, and so she won't know where it is. Let me run downstairs and get the bag of 3D printed mounts he gave me because I want to talk
Oh,
about
sick!
that.
Yeah, that'd be
Because
awesome.
yeah, give me a sec.
I always want to grab rifles and stuff, but I
Yeah,
could talk
we're on
about something.
YouTube and shit. We
I'm
can't.
usually good when people ask me, so uh, somebody type a question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Somebody mentioned that I was doing videos, and this was just sitting there. Although I've got 70 pages of questions, but I like to dick around with the reticle. And let's see, it's a different audience, I guess. I can't tell if you can see this because my window's really short. But when I use the reticle to move around
All
targets,
right.
yeah, I think that just to stem back to the conversations that kind of keep recycling there is like that you can mill targets for size and distance. But if you know, the recent podcasts about getting ready for competition, I talk about brackets, and that goes back to milling stuff. And if you shoot a group, let's say you shoot 5 shots from 5 positions, you know, 1 shot from 5 positions, so it's 5-shot group, and you look at that group, you put the point of aim on your point of aim, and if it's not on your point of aim where the group is, you know, that's a problem. But if you can create a subtension, that's the bracket around your point of aim to the group, and if you aim at a target and that bracket fits inside the target, then you're going to hit it, right? I mean, yeah, you can miss from wind and dope and stuff like that, but theoretically you're going to be able to hit it inside a second time of flight. So the conversation's been about how I predict and train and say, like, look, if this rifle shoots a certain group size, it doesn't really matter. Then we go to the next step to see which of the ones that fit in that standard go to the next standard, the next standard, the next standard, and that's how they shake out.
Yeah. So last night I went to dinner with Larry, and Larry makes these mounts, the big mount for us, the tall 225 that we were shooting, and Chris, and he's making some others. Yeah. But Larry had access.
I have it on a Burris.
Yeah, but Larry had access to 3D printing as well. And one of the things guys have been talking about is it's mainly there's guys with neck problems, there's this, and we feel taller is better. But some people, if they're stock, their cheek, their adjustability is limited, which like a Jay Allen has a limited cheek. Certain chassis have a great cheek, but like certain fiberglass or molded stocks have a limited cheek. So you may not want like the big 225s. So what Larry did, and we went to dinner last night, is he made me 9 sets of rings. And they're just 3D printed that somebody could put on their rifle to see how it feels ahead of time. You don't shoot them, you don't over torque them, you just install them on your rifle and see which one fits. And so here's like the 175s, and then here's the 20s. And so he has different.
That's so cool.
Right. And so now so imagine if this is in a gun shop and you put a scope in there, a demo, and then you say which rings fits you best with your setup. You can then try it before you buy it. And so this is like a really good way of doing it. And he has 35 millimeter. Each color is a different millimeter. The black is 36, the brown is 35, and then there's a gray 34.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a gray 30.
Shitload of the same scope, but
well, but I mean, one of each would but you can always do it because he just single screwed it. So you can always drop one in just to see. But it's a nice idea with the 3D printed world. These cost very little. If you come to a location and you say, hey, I want to try this, you have the ability to try it. So I think it was a genius idea for a little bit of money. It's 3D printed plastic. It's not meant for any torque, tension, shootability. It's just the heights. And to put a scope in it, and
you could even make like a 3D printed dummy action and put those on it, and then just say, okay, get in this position,
right,
and then figure out where the eye is,
yeah,
and then put it on, and then mount it, and say, okay, get on the rifle and close your eyes, and then put the scope on,
right,
and open your eyes, and then you have a sight picture.
And exactly, and that's his thinking was, rather than take that step. You know, we were recommending people buy a $20 riser, and that was our cost savings. Like, you buy a riser, you put your setup on it, and you see how it feels. Well, that was our low cost solution. But now that we're getting into the fine tune phase, you know, we don't want to just say 2.0 is good, 2.25 is good. It's like, I think that 175 to like 2.5, 2.25 is the range now. And this will let somebody try it with their setup before committing to a set of rings or something that would cost more money. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very good idea and an awesome use of a 3D printer. That would be
right.
really fun to be able to print out stuff to just sit in it. I mean, even if you didn't have the top part on there, you could
On
just
there.
put a scope in it and take it off, and because yeah, I mean that's such a great idea.
Right,
And
right.
fit is so important.
It really is.
Smart
And that's the
people.
thing. And we're talking about setting up the rifle like your car. We're talking about bringing rifle setup to another degree because we have so much adjustability in the stocks we're shooting today, the options for rings today, and so you say something to someone and it's like, do I commit to what they're telling me? Because that's money. And that's why, taking advantage of these lower cost solutions like 3D printing, something
Yeah,
pennies on the dollar
and we could
allows.
bring them to class. We'll just
Yes,
bring a
exactly. That's
rifle.
what it's
Yeah,
meant. Bring them to class, have them there and be able to put something in them and to say, try it. And so that's where we were at with that without just saying do what we say.
yeah. But that's a great. I mean, in class we could have a scope, all that whole set of rings, and then a rifle that shit. It doesn't even need a barrel like chassis. Or I mean, we could just bring another where we have so many rifles and say, all right, anybody curious, just use this and look through it, and
Yeah,
it's so
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like I said, if it's a case where, even for them, if it's a case taking your rifle, pulling your scope off the rail, the mount off the rail, and then putting these on and having a scope for it just to say, hey, how does that feel? Because that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
man. We're all talking about a feel, which leads to a recoil pulse. Um, uh, 375's asking what your AI's chambered in right now. Isn't it 6.5? What
Well,
do
it's a
you?
short action, so whatever what I have a 308 and a 6.5 barrel. That's all I've shot through it, and then I've got AI ASXR. I've got 300 Norma and 300 PRC.
Yes, Robbie, they are. The brown ones are 35 millimeter. The black ones are 36 millimeter, and then the gray one is a 34 millimeter. So the gray ones are 34. And so yes, the different colors. There's 9 sets roughly. So 3 heights per color, and then each color is a tube size. So from 34, 35, and 36, from 175, 20, and 2.25. That's what these are. So
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know who 357 that is, but um, I think the ATX chassis is great. Are you talking about the 700 Remington
yeah,
700 one?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
use that
so
one.
with
That's
the
what I'm running.
AI, yeah, like just the AI, it's got a short action bolt, so you could get a AI fit short action anything as long as
The only
it's a 308 bolt
yeah, the
base.
only problem with the and I'm running an ATX chassis as well. I'm running 2 ATX chassis, one on the Detroit Gunworks and one on my
Yeah, I've got
Terminus.
one right there.
Yeah, the only problem with my Terminus is the ATX chassis blocks the Terminus holes to loosen the bolt. So you'd have to drill a hole or cut out a key slot area to access the screws for like my Terminus. But if the action isn't like my Terminus, where I have that Detroit Gunworks in the chassis, it works really well. But I'm gonna end up switching my Terminus out of the ATX chassis because it does block my screws. Which, Robbie?
Yeah, it's got a low center of gravity, so it tends to be a little bit more
Yeah, that
stable
makes
way to
sense,
shoot
Robbie,
it.
to basically have an open top where you're just checking the height, to just lay a scope in there and kind of hold it. So Robbie's suggesting like a universal hole that was oval, like a 36 millimeter kind of thing, and then just dropping a 34 in there and looking at the height. Yeah, it probably
Then
would
you could have
work.
one, and then just put in little things to make it taller.
Yeah,
Like here's
shims.
a
Right, here's a
inch and a
shim.
half, and then here's an inch 7.5, and here's a
Mm-hmm.
2. But
But
I think
engineers
the
and
PRS
machinists.
rifle. Oh yeah, but that's awesome. I mean, I love that idea because you could set it up and have a dedicated
Yeah.
setup
And I was
instead
just
of one that's
looking.
kind of
Oh,
loose.
I know. I'm going to go to it. I know it's stupid, dumb money. I'm going to go to a DRT. I'm going to switch my ATXs out for a MDT DRT, even though they're really expensive. They're as much as a rifle.
I
But
want to shoot one.
yeah, I think the DRT is the next chassis I'm going to be running. Although I do want to swap out a chassis for that Surefire one that Diane has. That one fit me really well. That new Surefire chassis she's running. There was a couple.
I didn't see it.
It was missing a few features that I would like the buttstock needs a little help. But other than that, I thought the fit and feel for me in that Surefire chassis was nice. And then my main, like the chassis that fits me right now the best is a JP. My JPs, because they're short, my JP fits me really good, and I run 2 JPs. But I'm going to switch, I think, to a DRT.
Okay, there's 66 people watching, but you reminded me of something that I mentioned like 5 years ago, but never got around to it. I even
Well, there's
asked
66
MDT,
people on social media.
Ryan,
There's probably
yeah,
1,000 people
Ryan
on mine.
At MDT doesn't really. He's not a fan of Chris, so
No, Ryan doesn't like you. Ryan gives me room. Like Ryan, like I see him, he's super friendly, super nice to me, but he's kind of like he can't get too close to Frank because I'm the anti of everything he does. But like when I saw him at SHOT Show, he's always very nice, and Laura was giving him a hard time because apparently the night before we saw him, MDT was out cocktailing and he was pretty hungover. But I like Ryan a lot. I love his videos and stuff, but Ryan's very cautious with Frank.
Oh yeah. Well, when Louis had his thing, and I defended Louis, and
Yeah.
mouthed off to the match.
Well, and then
he
we
was in
were
the squad, so he was like, trying to be like, oh shit, I represent MDT, so he backed away.
yeah, that makes sense.
I get it. But
And
there was a guy who had made his
and
own
then I
stuff,
probably
and I was
got
like,
Keith
wow, that's
Baker in
beautiful.
trouble when I said something about with the Andy Slade incident when I brought that up at the IPRF in Cameo. I dished the inside ball dirt, so I'm sure that didn't earn me any favors because that's
Did you pull out a knife and say,
well,
anyway,
yeah.
but I had said like 4 or 5 years ago, I want like a 4x4 milled out so I could just put a barreled action in it. Just like a hole down in it.
Oh
for
yeah,
the barrel.
Jacob's done that a bunch of times. If you go, because he's done the wrench,
but not just bolted on, onto a 2x4. I want like a 4x4 that has a barrel recess out of it, so you can't really see the barrel till the end of it, with like an inlet for the so the trigger. But you got to cut out part of it for the bolt. But I want to just have a 4x4 piece of wood.
yeah.
And it's in there with the bolt sticking out the side, but for the most part, all you
Remember
see
when
is
Jacob
a
did that with
4x4.
the Teledyne straight jacket? He took the barreled action and like clamped two by fours.
Put it down there and
Yes,
with like
yes,
duct tape
Jacob.
and shit.
Yes, exactly, because he had the straight jacket barrel that was supposed to be, insulated from moving outside the world and blah blah blah. But yeah, Jacob did it.
Right. But I want a 4x4 that's like, covert, right? Like people talk about covert, but if you're carrying a 4x4,
You need a woodworker with a good milling machine that can do the top and then just do a hole to slide the barreled action in from the back. So you need like a good machinist, and I bet you he could do it.
Well, that's why I asked MDT, but he was like,
"Oh, but they're metal machine. You know who could do it out of wood? Chad Dixon.
You'd have to bed it. But
Yeah, but Chad Dixon has the CNC machines that are programmed to do all that bedding and do all that, and he made that wooden stock that year of the like there's a Sniper's Hide Cup prize rifle that LRI did, and they tricked. In fact, George Gardner won it, but it had a wood stock that they built because of all that. Nathan saying hit him up. Nathan says hit me up, Chris. I don't know what the context is. Maybe
okay,
though
I
two
don't
by
know
four.
who. Yeah.
Yeah.
Email
Four
Chris at
wheeler. I know.
riflecraft.
He wants he wants a 4x4 piece of wood, not a four wheeler.
I want a 4-wheeler with a rifle mounted on it.
Yes,
Well, that would be
we have
cool
that.
if you could just send it to me. I'll give you my address. But yeah, I mean, I think because you're gonna have a scope on it too. So, but have it in there, and it'll be balanced right. I don't give a shit about it length of pull really, as long as it's
Right. Just put a
normal or
pistol
a
grip
little
on
bit
it. Just screw a
short.
pistol grip into the bottom with the trigger and be good.
No, I'm just gonna hold the fucking wood, like just
Oh,
hold
are
the
you?
wood, like ah.
That's funny.
You could put like a tubular nylon or something on there, but yeah, if you just had the freaking, I think that would be so cool. The knife poking down out of the bottom of the wood, but it just looks like a 4x4. Like, bah.
How?
You could screw shit in the sides, right? Because it's a 4x4.
Yes, totally. Oh, you know what I was so like today? So I went crazy. I have the Mars unit. Do you have a Mars too, or no? Just a.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Okay.
It's
So
right over
I
here. You
went.
want me to get it?
No. I went all over the internet looking for a mount for the pressure switch. They don't even make one. So I finally called up
Yeah.
Chris Roberts and I'm like, hey, man, is there a mount for this pressure switch? And he called up Mike Cassidy at Mars and Vision and they're like, well, we're making one now. I'm like, I bought like 3 universal pressure switch mounts and none of them work because I moved the Mars to my Night Force field scope.
I
And
just use Velcro.
but that's everybody. And I had Velcro on it and I pulled it off thinking I can get a mount. And I pulled the Velcro off. And now I come to find out
I
they
got
don't.
little Velcro we can cut if you
Yeah, I
need.
do too. I do. I made my own and I cut it and I have tons of Velcro
It's nice to have
because
a mount though.
yes, because of the I had all that extra Velcro because of the Magneto Speed, the T1000s. So I had strips of Velcro to use for them. And so I had cut the Velcro and had it on the switch already. But I'm like, this is a shitty way of doing business. I want a real mount. And everything's pressure switch has a mount. I got the M-Lock, like Monstrum makes really good M-Lock cable guides. Like cable sorters that are little individual ones and not the big long one like TNVC. And so I got the Monstrum cable management. And then I'm like, okay, let me order a couple pressure switches and see if I can get one to fit. None of them fit. Luckily, they're all like $6 and $9. But somebody's got to 3D print me a Mars pressure switch mount because
Okay,
they don't have
speaking
one.
of that, because my brain always like hears something and then it goes to the other thing. Remember when MDT or uh, Trigger Tech was talking about their digital electric trigger?
Yes, I've shot it, or at least I've dry fired it.
Like, if you have an electronic trigger, you don't need a trigger below the rifle anymore. You just need a wire with a pressure switch. So you don't have to have your hand under the gun.
It
doing
doesn't work
this
like that.
anymore.
No, it doesn't. It's a trigger.
But you could, right?
Yeah, maybe
If you
plug it in,
had,
but right.
instead of the sensor detecting pressure on a traditional trigger, if you could literally hold
Yeah.
the rifle like this now with a pressure switch, and
And that
all of a
trigger,
sudden the instability would be stable. Pressure trigger.
that trigger, she wants to say,
I wanted to say hi to Chris.
um,
Hello.
originally that trigger was meant to connect to everything in the shooter's global world. All the electronics that Shooter Global had, that trigger was originally going to interact with that.
Dude, that'd be so sick. But I just think, like, if you have all of that
Got it, Hurley.
mechanism there, the trigger part of it is they're thinking in the past, not the future. Just get rid of the whole trigger and have a pressure sensor.
A pressure sensor, right.
And you could shoot with your thumb on the handguard up front. Oh,
Yeah.
shit, the camera almost did the hand signal. I'm like, no.
Oh, yeah. The cameras have hand signals. And if you make your hand signal, it changes shit. But you're not on that camera, are you?
Like,
are you on the hand signal camera?
Yeah, I am.
Shit.
I'm on that one. Yeah. Like, don't do anything. Yeah, so I don't know. So I don't know if you saw or heard any of the little, I'm putting out little shorts from the podcast, but I had the reticle out, because somebody had asked, like, because it's going somewhere, but it's going to take multiple episodes. But if you mill a target, right, you can mill targets and,
yeah, you're good.
I've got targets and
up high.
You can mill them, right? And so, but these ones mill out at 2 mils or 2/10, 2/10, 3/10. But that doesn't tell you anything about how big the target is, other than it's a 2/10 bracket, right? And so then I went through there and said it could be a 12-inch plate at 1666, but it could be a 5-inch plate at 690 yards, and it could be a 5-inch plate at 463 if it's 0.3, but it could be whatever. So, like, the actual size of the target, you don't know. All you know is what the bracket is, right? What it mills to. And if you can shoot on paper, that should be linear. And so you should be able to flash mill a target and say, know what your probability of hitting it was. And so then I had gone to green mill, and I'm going to show you these. And I shot at groups, a bunch of them though. Like it was like 6 sets of shooting, but I shot groups at 100 yards. Right here's let me find more 100-yard.
Can I tell you what Chris was doing? So we were shooting pistol, and I did that video with the SAR, and Chris would shoot like a mag. And then he'd drop the guns and he'd walk into the next bay and go shoot rifle. And then when he was done shooting the rifle, he would walk back into the bay with the handgun. He'd reload a mag. He'd shoot 2 mags. He'd put everything down. And he'd walk into the other bay, go shoot his rifle. And then he would come back and play with the handgun.
Yeah. So, but check this out. And I wanted to just be like, hey, look, I mean, we hear it, you hear it or whatever. But
Robbie likes your videos. The guys on the Hide like them.
Yeah, these are 100, these are 2 little squares from the podcast, but it doesn't matter how big this is, right? But it's going to be twice the size theoretically at 200 yards. And look at this. This is 200 yards. And I was like, you could take my word for it. So then I printed out 1/10 grids and at 100 and 200. So you could see here that at 100 yards, a 1/10 is that big, and at 200 yards, a 1/10 is that big, right? And so then I put the groups on there, and I said, actually, I shot 6 groups at 100 and 6 groups at 200, and the 200 ones are slightly smaller on average. And I said, don't even go there. It's linear, right? And so it's going to stay like that till about a second. I mean, you're going to have to hold wind inside of a second, but it's not going to do crazy things until around a second. And so if you flash mill a target, and most of us shoot inside of a second time of flight. So I think that's my argument to say people need to work their fundamentals more than everybody needs to work. I need to work fundamentals. Everybody does, right? Like, it's so important to be able to maintain a point of aim and the point of impact. Like, so the paper was a little bit crooked, but the X at 200 yards, one's in the center of it and one's left and right of it, right? So this fits inside a 1/10, right? So like the 10th lines are on either side of it at 200. So
and Robbie says, put your target grids up at the 1/10 and 2/10. Put them up in your Riflecraft resources. They're asking in the chat on the hide.
Yeah, PayPal me $5.
Needs coffee.
So you could see like,
You knocked your camera.
It decided to look at the ceiling. Hello. Hey, look at me. Follow me. The Chinese hacked it. So you could see here, like the point of aim, point of impact for the X anyway, regardless of the group size, but the group fits inside. The average was, this one is, they're breaking the line on a 10th, but that doesn't, that's not what I'm saying. Like, but my point is, then I took out the elevation, so I shot a group at the X's, and then I dialed 0 to see if it was a consistent measurement. But let's say you were shooting at this, and up, down, left, or right, you shot a small group, and you go, oh, I shot a group that's a 10th. The problem is you were aiming at this, right? And that would have been a fundamental error, which is what the craft drill highlights, right? Is that you'll shoot groups all over the place, but the whole picture is big. So, like, I mean, as time goes on, it seems like I just keep saying the same thing, but
I got it, Robbie. I'll give him a coffee.
Jacob, like, you and Jacob have been doing it even longer, but it's so amazing that all of the stuff that everybody's building and coming up with and knew this, knew that, knew this, knew that, and everybody still needs to work fundamentals.
Yeah. I mean, really, the advanced class is just the fundamentals faster from an alternate position.
Yep.
That's it.
But look, like, oh, look, yeah, here's the one that matches this, right? Because they were from different positions. But, like, I got a little horizontal group and a little horizontal group. That this one, they're offset because I didn't
dial.
I didn't
Didn't dial
with dialing and with not dialing. Well, I was doing it both on purpose because I wanted to see. And also, how good can you actually aim at 100? That's another fascinating thing that I think is, like, well, maybe it's just me, but at 200 yards, you dial it, right? And I think that some scopes, the 0 has wiggle.
Yes.
But
even magnification has wiggle because of March. Like, March scopes claim the fame is you can adjust the magnification and it doesn't move the point of impact, where they'll tell you if you take a variable power scope and you start shooting it and fucking with the magnification, it'll move it all around for a bench rest level accuracy. Yes, and that's why March is a bench rest scope. Its main claim to fame beyond glass clarity, because they're high-end glass for, Japan, is that when you adjust the magnification, the group does not move at all, because they will say any variable optic, as you move it and shoot, it'll move your strike.
Wow.
Right. Let's try that.
Yeah. Well, like, we went through a phase where it was like, how many people know how to check their parallax? Everybody goes, oh, God, I adjust my parallax all the time. But then you start asking them, like, well, what is it? I just put it in focus and I'm good. Did you wiggle your head? No. Wiggle your head for a sec. Why is the reticle moving? Because there's parallax.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, that's why the scope tool, and that's why we do the thing we do.
Right. And it's amazing because I'll get it nice, parallax free. I'll go to 200, I'll come back. Maybe I didn't check it as much. Maybe I didn't, but when I shoot 200, 100, 200, 100, my 100 group will have more error consistently if I'm going out and back, out and back, out and back. bullets don't come back together,
No.
right? So groups aren't going to get smaller with distance. So whatever it is, it could be my eyes, it could be, but there is something that's not resolving itself as consistently at 100 as it is at 200. And I've noticed that for me for a long time. And it's, I'm talking like 8 rifles, 8 different scopes. If I do 10 groups, 3 or 5 shots back and forth, 200, 100, 200, 100, my 100-yard groups will have more error. Not huge error, but it'll just have a little bit more error.
Yeah. Hey, Chris.
It's weird. So anyway, sorry. I'm just
Yeah, no.
There's
Roberts
many,
just popped in. I was just saying hi to Roberts.
I just think there's never-ending fascination. I guess
Well, I mean, it's the noise in the system. We have to we need to do a chart like your cone of, target panic, like Rusted is saying. We need to do a chart like your cone of fire, how you break down each concentric circle. This one's this big, this one's this big, this one's this big. There really does need to be a noise checklist, because like Spindrift is in the noise. Coriolis is in the noise. Anything like beyond your wind control is in the noise. If you're if you're a 4 mile an hour wind caller and you're worried about a half mile an hour, that's in the noise, and things like
right,
that.
Totally. And that's what I call like the low hanging fruit, right? If you shoot, if anybody shoots, and then we do a couple tests to say, well, what's your biggest source of error? Because let's deal with that first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and Holy's saying like Litz talks about that Litz, everybody shooting beyond 1,000 or beyond 100 takes a moment to think about it, and when you shoot 100, you're lackadaisical, so you're not correcting your parallax. You're not correct. I mean, that's the whole point of the Mark and Frank class in the fundamental, is to go down the line and nitpick you for 4 or 5 relays at 100, and to correct those problems to turn someone into a clone, because the 100 is the baseline, the 100's the foundation. But like Holy's saying, what Litz says, is that we're more lackadaisical because it's 100.
I'm lackadaisical about everything.
Yeah, me too. You see me, dude. I
don't think or try.
I'm like, no mind.
Okay, I'll just shoot, bang, but then you hit it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could see that, but I think it's easy to say something without evidence because it sounds good. And I'm not picking a fight with Litz here, or anybody for that matter. I think it's easy to make up an answer that sounds okay. And
he makes up a lot of shit. He says a lot of bad things.
But, so it's not that it's wrong. It's that I don't know that that's true, and we could test it because I see it with myself over and over again. And because of that, we're always testing everything, and that's just one of those things.
Well, I mean, anybody from the Hide who's been with me in the Brian Litz years, you're like 2008, 2010, 12, where Brian was active on Sniper's Hide. I battled with him all the time and, debated things he said. I'm like, I never saw that in the real world. I never saw that in the real world. Show me how that works in the real world. You're giving me a number, but that doesn't translate to life. And then that's when, for a while to shoot the messenger, they would tell me I'm just including it in my win call, But they'd be like, oh, he just puts it in his win. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I don't have education in the Marine Corps. For us, didn't do Spindrift or Coriolis. And in fact, early on when the Marine Corps was having an app built, they took it out. But he put his flag in the earth on Spindrift and Coriolis, so he had to talk about it. And I would debate him on Sniper's Hide constantly about it. And I think to this day, if you go back in time and look at every argument I had with Brian Litz about ballistics and shooting, I won. To this day, they come around to me more than I've ever come around to them. Yeah, a hit is a hit, but is it? It isn't, because there's a lot of people that don't know. Chris is right. A hit is a hit, but is it? No, because a lot of people fall into an accident. Right? A blind squirrel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and Right. That's a whole nother conversation.
Right,
I
right.
was leaning towards testing the aim small, miss small, because if you look at 100, the X isn't much different than the 200, but it mills out smaller.
Come over with the
right?
other one. Yeah, come over. Come to your right a little. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see it because we couldn't see the one page.
So the crosshair, this one is 100 yards and this one is 200 yards, but when it mills out at 200, right at 100 yards, this cross is almost 2/10 wide, right? Almost 2/10 wide, but at
the 200 yeah.
yards. At 200,
Find your up. It found you.
it's
Oh, your camera
only a
did good.
At 200 yards, it's only a 10th wide. So I was like, oh, well, I wonder if it has to do with the aim small, miss small. But we could get dots that are. And remember when we were shooting the blacked out targets?
Yes.
Like fundamentally with the aim dot, the orange aim dot, people were doing great groups. But if there's nothing to aim at, the groups start to open up.
Yeah.
But they open up to the size of the target, right?
Go because they couldn't see, right? The blacked out ones were meant so you couldn't see your impact and you didn't chase it. So your mind was out of the equation. And we actually found with that black target, Robbie, you shot it in Ohio. I believe Robbie shot the black targets. Remember when we put them at 300 yards or something and guys were shooting the groups? But also we did the low power one. And like I know for sure Nick had an insanely tight group on his lower power on the black target. So Robbie shot those targets in class, and he's in the hide one.
Yeah, and in the classes when we were doing that, right, because Frank and I were talking about it. Then he made those blacked out targets, and then people were shooting better groups on those than not. But the magnification thing that we did, and that there's an article about, is amazing too, because some people shoot great on high power, some people shoot great on low power, but usually there's a power where it's not as good.
Yes. And like Robbie's saying, gravity ballistics proves a hit on steel without a waterline is not a hit. Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Well, if you put a drive-in movie screen up and hit it, it's a lot different than if you put Dinty Moore up there.
Well, but I was even just talking to Walt when we went to Mile High. Walt Wilkinson from Gunsight was there, and we were talking. Him and I shop. He's just hanging out for the day with Randy, and so we were talking about this, and so he absolutely, even the Gunsight methodology was taking that shooter out of the equation, and the aim small, miss small works. And the gravity ballistic side of it.
I mean, you're right. Gravity ballistics. I haven't heard an argument that's more efficient than gravity ballistics.
No.
I mean, people do it the other way, but how many bullets can you get your dope for that's trued? I haven't heard a better system. So
no, me neither. It's so on, and then it's like when I was helping early on with some of your mentor people, and the recoil we see on bags and not being locked into a tripod where it arches and the muzzle comes up. So your muzzle's like this level, but then when you shoot on a bag and the people that were dropping in their shoulder, they arch. So the muzzle doesn't go like this, it goes like this. And it's small, but you're right here, you're now 2/10 over the target. So people dialed down, right? And then depending on where the release is on that recoil, longer barrel, slower bullet, whatever the case may be, that's going to say where that release is for the barrel. Well, then when a guy got into a different position and then the recoil went straight, they missed. And that's when I saw with Chris, with his students, I said they're shooting over and we'd have to bring them back to 100, refundamental them, gravity ballistics them on the fly to fix their data, because it's only like 2-3 off, but it's enough to miss at 600 yards on a tripod. And so that was where we were seeing that where the recoil pulse matters.
Oh yeah. I mean, everything matters, but
Nice, Boone.
when it matters is important, right?
Here's
Like
an
that's
endorsement.
right.
Gravity Ballistics is way more accurate and reliable for me. I have AB, but I keep using it less and less. Gravity Ballistics is amazing. It really does
Because you
work.
do gravity ballistics. If we're gonna go somewhere, we do gravity ballistics, and it travels in a kestrel. But you true the kestrel to if the kestrel doesn't line up with your gravity ballistic, something's wrong in the kestrel. It's not something's wrong somewhere else and so depending on your fundamentals, because if you have big groups, then you're going to need to shoot multiple shots at each distance.
And that's a big factor. The group
fastest
size is
way.
huge. Right. That's a big factor in.
Right. Totally. But you were there when I doped out for the competition I just went to. I shot 8 shots. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1,000. That was it.
Yeah, that's all Mark does.
And then,
honestly, Mark goes to a new range. He lays down. He shoots 8 shots. He goes, okay, I got it. And then he walks away. And then from that point on, it realigns his mind for where he's at. So, an Alaska, it does, but it doesn't, Hurley. You can go past 1,000 and it'll show you, like, you don't really want to go much past 1,200 yards with it. But you can do it. You have to use the drop column because the pattern will appear. And if you follow the drop pattern, it'll work past distance. And we did that as well in like Nebraska. So we shot everybody in there. Jake was just on McDaniel. He owns the Nebraska range. We shot to 1230, 1250, whatever his plate is. And so we dope everybody out with gravity ballistics. But like 1,100 yards, we'll say to somebody, what was the difference between 9 and 1,000? And they'll go 1.4. So they added 1.4 mils to get to 1,000 from their 9. We go, okay, what do you think 1,100 will be? And we go 1.6. So they add 1.6 to their 1,000, and they're like almost dead on at 11. They dope it, and then we go, okay, you were 1.8 at 1,100. What do you think 12 is going to be? And we'll go 2.2. Something like that, because then you see the drop column pattern and you just follow that pattern to get beyond 1,000, but I wouldn't recommend it beyond 1,200.
Yeah, and this is where that noise checklist comes in. That's when standard deviation does make a huge difference. Because if you have dude, I shot this Hornady. I shouldn't say Hornady out loud. It had a standard deviation of 36.
It was Friday. They had a happy hour and locally around the corner. He had to get out of there, man. I
shot 10 shots and it had a standard deviation of 36.
Yeah, it was Friday. Give the guy a break.
That gravity ballistics would be like, it's somewhere between 2.2 and 3.6. Right. But inside of 900, doesn't matter. But that's where standard deviation matters.
Yeah.
I think that's why, because if you had an SD of 0 or 1, you would be able to map that thing out for infinity with gravity ballistics.
Well, that's your buddy Ryan, man, with his SD is 0 and he has that slow node. But because he's in that slow node, but his SD is like 0 literally, it just floats and friggin' drops into the plate.
Right. Yeah, like less like an inch vertical at 1,000.
Yeah. He shot a 3-inch group with his 6.5 Creedmoor shooting 153s at 2570 with an SD of 0. We had a 12-mile-an-hour wind, and I go, shoot me a group. And he shot me a 3-inch group on command at 1,000, no bullshit. Yeah, COVID wrecked ammo.
He still
for
has
sure.
more trophies in NRL Hunter than anybody.
Yeah, I believe it.
Team, but he's won it with everybody.
Yeah, he's good.
He's an amazing shooter on his own. He'd win if he shot by himself, but he loves being a partner. And I think that's fucking awesome because he likes to share it with people, and he takes people hunting in Alaska, and like he's just a nice guy. But how he gets a SD of 0 is fucking magic.
It's that slow
Like,
note, dude.
I've
Slow
got
notes are
this,
easier.
and
Yeah,
my
your Harry Power
SD,
on it.
I take it to Mile High, and I say, make the SD good, and I get a box of 36 SD.
Yeah, but you know what? I've been shooting
orange.
the 6 arc, and my SDs in the 6 arc have been under 10. I've been averaging 6
That's
and
so crazy.
4. Right, my 6 arc has been amazing in its factory Hornady, and I got a 6 out of one rifle and a 10 out of the other, or not a 10, a 4 out of the other, and like my gas gun was a 4. And so, yeah, it just
The
depends.
art
Like,
stuff is good. I think it totally depends. But I did get second overall at this last
Yeah.
match with the SD of 25. So
nice. Goes to show you. Dude, the fact that you can, I mean, it's hard. Don't get me wrong, because I've seen it. We did it with Ryan. He shot that 3-inch group with his hand load. I handed him a box of Burger 153s, and he only got 4 out of 5 on the plate. So the fact that you can take factory ammo and that you can come and you can podium with it really, really says a lot. Because if somebody came up to me and said, hey, I want to be serious about competition, regardless of what they mean, I'm going to tell them they got a hand load to the nth degree. That's the decider. But then you go and wreck it.
yeah, I think people lose their shit more that I do it all on a tripod.
Yeah.
But I think
That to me
backs
is
up the
minimal.
idea that we got the gravity ballistics, we have consistent fundamentals, and it's inside a second time of flight.
If anybody saw, I mean, they do. I don't think people realize how much we zero standing up on a tripod, and our groups look like what you just shot. Did you do that on a tripod standing, or did you go prone?
This was on a tripod, yeah, with a bag on it though.
Right, but then you know what I'm saying? Tripod standing. Those groups Chris just posted was him on a tripod. That's what we do. And so we almost never go prone. The only thing close to prone we do is the bench now, those square benches. And then almost everything we do, like if I'm on the bench or something and I know I got to zero a gun to shoot it for real, I put it on the tripod. And I zero it on the tripod because I know 90% of my shooting is tripod now. But my 100-yard group is 3/8 of an inch on a tripod. So why would I do anything different?
You usually get first round impacts on prairie dogs at 800 yards standing off a tripod too, they're fucking smaller than 3/8 of an inch.
Yeah, they are. But I mean, that if I range them, I hit them. But if I'm not ranging them, I'm usually dicking around with elevation. That's the problem. Because I'm guessing. You know what I mean? I'm going, there's my target at 6. That looks like 625. That one's probably at 633. Let me put 630 on the gun and see what happens. I throw dirt on them. And then I go, oh, okay, he's this now. But if I put my laser, like I'm just talking to Mars, if I tap a prairie dog with the Mars, he's dead. It's no fun.
Totally, but it's a fucking tiny target.
Yeah. And I do kill him, and I do kill him more than I don't. If I laser him, I kill every one. If I don't laser him, I'm having fun, and then I'm throwing dirt on him, and I'm trying to beat a range, because I just don't know the real range.
But we also are obsessed about fundamentals. We're
Yes.
fundamentalists.
Yeah.
And that allows you to shoot from any height the same. Because sometimes laying down, and in the field, it's hard to shoot prone a lot of times because there's shit in the way.
And I will say that when I rebalanced the Terminus and 6 arc, and I rebalanced that chassis, they were talking the ATX chassis, I rebalanced it different. Like before, I had 2 pounds up front, and that just balanced the rifle kind of on my tripod. Well, I took it and I staggered it weird. I put 1 pound like back a little bit. Then I put the other one right where like my hand goes. And so it was offset staggered. And that change in balance really helped me tighten my groups up at 100 off the tripod. And it seems weird because in the old way, I just was like, I got to keep the nose down. In fact, I just put together the 6GT and I moved everything around. I'm taking one of the weights off the 6GT and then I'm repositioning just one so I don't have that 2 pounds on the nose to keep my nose up, because it was kind of then giving me a little bit of backlash. And now I balanced it where it's a lot more neutral. Where before I was keeping the muzzle down for my balance, and it balanced fine, but now the balance on it is very, very neutral. I'm neutral buoyancy, moving the weights the way I did, and I notice
Do you
it
think that
different.
has something to do with the ball heads? Like now that
Yeah,
the ball heads are better, it requires a neutral, whereas before maybe they
I front heavied it.
favored.
Yes. I think it's how you know what I think is a factor too? The higher mounts. I'm not as heavy-headed. I used to, when I did my lessons. So if you guys, Robbie's been there, a bunch of people. I give a tripod lesson. I was telling people that I put my reticle a half mil under the plate. So then when my head went on it, it raised right into the middle of the plate. Now I find I'm not, with the mounts being higher, I'm only like a 2/10 head, not a 5/10 head. And so I think that's where my change came into, is the height for the scope mount changed the recoil and the weight of my head on the stock. And then when I made the chassis neutral, it's not being overcompensated from a heavy head. So I eliminated 3/10 out of my head, and that stopped the rifle from popping, if for lack of a better word. From my nose overcompensating from being too heavy. My head was too heavy. I put too much weight on the front. I reduced my head weight. I took the weight off the front, and I spread it out different. And that made a difference for like my 100-yard groups.
Yeah, I remember when you were moving the weights around and stuff, but
Yeah,
we experiment with that a lot, and
a
it
lot.
does. Because we could shoot groups and we can see where they migrate when we change the weights, and it's like, wow, my point of aim was here, and when I move it here, it shifts my point of aim here or here. And
Well, I
one
switched
of the guys that
caliber
is
and
just
barrel too. I switched the barrel. There's a different profile and length, and I'm not on a proof or anything right now. You know what I mean? So I switched my barrel, so I reset up the rifle for the new caliber and barrel profile. So I didn't just change
but
barrel and left the weights where they were. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, like, the article that I wrote about configuring the rifles, and I just reconfigured 4 rifles, but that's basically what I was doing, is taking barreled actions in 308, 6.5, and 6 millimeter, and changing chassis and configurations so that the balance was right, because I get on them the same way. And
Yeah.
when I get on them the same way, it was like, wow, this one's not. But now the way that they're set up, I get on all of them and they all have the same point of aim, point of impact. But you
Which
have
is
to
good,
tinker
right?
with that a lot. Yeah. But it took, a lot of days going out and like, how am I going to change this around and not have it be wonky? And but it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's taking stuff out, right? It's neutralizing it.
Right,
So
I
you don't
neutralized
have to
it.
have all the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It simplifies it.
No, it does. It does. And I actually just picked up, like, I did a gray ops order, a little tiny one, just because Mo and I got a 25 Charlie mount from gray ops. And then I was getting another, but then I grabbed just their thumb. I kind of think I like Sykes's clutch a little better, but I got their thumb M-lock mount from the gray ops that I want to try too. I mean, I'm more of my thumb's usually a little higher, but I'm gonna, like I said, on the stock, I like the Sykes clutch for that side. But I ended up ordering some different things just to play with, because on that hunting rifle, I have a J-Mac hook on it, and I can grab the bag and the hook with my finger and hold it's a little tiny brass looking J-Mac hook. And I have that in the M-lock on the side, so I can hook my finger in the bag on that Hunting 26 stock, and I use the hook from J-Mac. It's a little tiny M-lock thing that's super small, and so I like that. It works really well, on the Hunting 26 stock. But I'm hoping the Manners will come. I got the new Manners folder on the way, and I'm gonna swap out that Apollo out of the Hunting 26 and put it in the Manners and try it.
Oh, sick! The one that George had in
Yeah,
Texas.
the one at the Texas, right?
Yeah, that was cool looking. That was really cool looking.
Yeah, yeah.
Super cool looking.
So that's and so when Laura went there, she spec'd it out with Tom, and so he had texted me right around SHOT Show to make sure the action, and it's just an Apollo Light, from Terminus, and then it's 6.5 Creed. And I'm gonna drop it in that folding Hunter from Manners because
We could do a video. We could do a bigger one on. Let's see what difference where the weight is, and I bet engineers could say, like, if I have a stick and I put it balanced even, if the weights are close to it and even versus out and even, and then I move it, the momentum, it's either going to be faster or slower depending on where it is.
Yeah.
And so on the rifle with the recoil, if it's a lot of weight way out at the ends versus a lot of weight in the middle versus distributed even, it might, which one's the one that buffers it the most? I guess that's because that's what you would want.
Yeah, no, and they probably have a math thing, but it is all momentum because I'm smaller. Momentum matters to me. And so I see momentum more than other people do in the movement of the rifle, especially when you're over 16, 18 pounds in a rifle. Your size and that momentum moving that either to the prop, off it to the next one, or, however you carry it, the momentum really, really matters. I like those things you're doing, Chris. Everybody wants to see more of that. They're all digging your videos, and they like what you've been up to.
I'll check it out. Like, when, hang on a sec, I got to sit like this so I could see the camera. But if I put out a little short video where I went bipod prone down, and then I went up 2 clicks and then up 2 clicks. And I was there with this guy that just started coaching, and he said, when I shoot,
come to your right a little more. Yeah, there you go, right there. I could block me out.
Come down, camera. He's like, where the fuck is the thing? I can't tell.
Yes, Chris, I am Hodges. I'm gonna do. Sorry, Chris. I'm just answering while you were lining up.
No, it's totally fine.
Are you lined up? Or never mind. Go back. I'll answer him after.
Because I can't see it, but I.
Oh, you can't see it.
No, but I can't see it because the camera's there and the screen is there, and I'm trying to make it work, but I could see through this. Okay, so, when you shoot prone and it's like bang, your reticle settles up here, right, or the other way.
Yeah.
And I said, I looked at it, I was like, well, because the lines of force aren't right, because there's a little bit of offset. Like if you lowered your butt pad, it's off axis from the thing. So I said, well, raise your bipod. Well, when I did it, because I was like, let me do this really quick and we'll film it. I had it at the lowest setting, and the reticle went up like a mil. And then I went up 2, and it went up 0.5 mil. And then I went up 4, and it recoiled and went right back to the point of aim. Like, it didn't move. Like, bang. Maybe it did, but it settled right back where it was. And I was like, oh, shit. That was awesome. Let me do another video really quick. Because when you're behind the rifle, if it's not at your body height and you're going down there, it's like it created a little teeter. And so if you get the bipod to the right height, when you shoot it, the point of aim should go back to where the point of aim is.
Right.
And that's what I saw in that video. I didn't say anything else. I just said like, oh yeah, that's better. But that's what I saw.
Yes.
It settled a mil high, it settled half a mil high, it went right back to the point of aim.
There you go. And I think that's all that momentum of where your points are, like you said, where the hinge and balance points line up in how the rifle, then the momentum of it reacts on the different heights that you're talking, bipod, and then trying to find the happy ground. Chris, yes, we are doing classes. We have a Nebraska in July and Ohio in September. I will be doing Missouri as well once I'm settled in and I go see the range and all that stuff. I will have a range in Missouri to do the classes. So there'll be one in July. And depending on, how fast I get settled in and get the lay of the land, I may be able to announce one in March. I may announce it in April. But I definitely will be cycling in the classes and getting ready to do all that. So we're definitely, on track for classes for this year. Sorry, it just answering.
And we have one that's like on the books for July in Fort Morgan. So I want to make sure the windmill.
Yeah, and that's fine too. That works as well. But yeah, there'll be classes and things like that we're going to be doing. And Rob's saying he likes what you guys are doing. Appreciate it, Rob. But yeah, it's one of them.
Okay, it's 7:20. So
yeah.
Listen, if you guys want clinics or classes, I don't have anything on the calendar. And since Frank and I go out there, if you want one and you have if it's a clinic and it's like one or two people, just reach out to me and we'll just set the date up. And then I'll tell people, hey, we're having a clinic that day, but that's enough to go out there. But a class, you need a few people.
Yeah, like you want 8 at a minimum, which we usually fill. Like normally we were doing 16, 15 people classes, maybe 14. Then this last year we were doing 8s and 12s. 8s are fine. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it was just a function of the economy. People weren't coming as much. But an 8-person class would be a bare minimum from, me to get out of bed kind of thing. But a clinic, like Chris said, if we're out there anyway and it's just a collection of people who want to go and it's a nice week and we say, hey, we could do a clinic now, absolutely. As long as I don't have to get formalized with you guys and we can do this, and a clinic is easier to hit the individual that needs their high points, where a class, then I have to make sure I'm doing a class.
Yeah. But reach out and say like, hey, we got a couple guys. What do you think? And
yeah.
We'll decide.
I mean, if you got a couple buddies and you guys want to come out and do a thing, we could do it. I mean, we're flexible now and
totally. It's pretty dynamic. And then
yeah.
It's pretty funny. Like, earlier I joked about like, it sent me $5. There was this dude on Instagram, like because I posted the video and then I see whatever's right there. First of all, that fucking tweaker geographic is hilarious. But anyway, I'm like, why would it show me that? But I laughed. And then another one was like this motivational guy, but it was like a few seconds long. But and then I looked at all of them. Like he has like 1 million followers, but he has these videos, and at the end he goes, and if you like this, you could PayPal me $5.
Right,
like, dude, that's fucking genius. He has 1 million people following him. PayPal me $5. So I'm like, I might try to figure out how to say that on my little short videos too. Like, $5. Like, give me a tip.
Yeah.
Just give me a tip. PayPal me $5.
There you go. But there's where we're at for Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. You got the everyday sniper, rifle craft, sniper's hide, whatever you want to call it today. That's fine. But yeah, appreciate you guys. We're going to pop. Chris got to go feed dinner. I heard the kids. Oh, wait, Rob Pierce, any tips on seeing the shot better? I've been in a slump. Like the question is, like, describe it more for a second, Rob. What, like, by seeing the shot, in what context are you feel you're losing your sight picture? Give me like a little example. Like you're going up to the prop and you're putting it down. Are you planting that foot? Are you shimmy shuffling behind it? Do my foot's got to go here, the rifle's got to go here, my arm's going to go here, or are you just kind of going, the rifle's got to go here? Like, where's the downside that you're seeing? Where are you seeing your issue? Like, because you're in the slump there.
Yeah. Can you see the bullet? Can you see the plate move? or are you losing the plate
Yes.
altogether?
That's absolutely a thing, and we've done that. He says he's moving too fast. Absolutely,
Oh,
you
yeah, don't run the
probably
bolt
are.
till you see it.
Yes. So we've had several people we've put the clock on. Lemon was the biggest offender. Lemon from the East Coast there. He's a PRS guy. Um, his follow up was insanely fast, and he would always miss on the follow up when he did miss, and he was peeling off the gun so fast he was pulling himself to the right. So, like Chris says, you have to make sure you give yourself that little bit of pause to make sure you're seeing it and not running the bolt that fast. See the result, run the bolt. You know what I mean? So you have to see it and then run it, because what they were doing, the guys we've seen on a time clock, on a Kestrel or whatever, beep, and it's just like wham, 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 and you're like, whoa, your split was insane. And you can see the movement from the speed. Like, I'm exaggerating, I'm doing Broadway, but they're peeling so fast off the gun on the follow-up, that's the miss. That would be my advice to you, Rob. Sight unseen. I don't know what you're doing, but I would bet you are exactly describing you're moving too fast. Yes, because that's something we see. The clock is in your head, and you need to kind of get through. You need to get the clock out of your head, but in your mind.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the clock
Like,
needs to...
another thing.
Yeah, right, Chris?
I was gonna
Out
say-
of your head, but in your mind. You need to be on the clock, but off of it.
Like, one thing Frank says to everybody: press, break, freeze. And he's talking about the trigger finger, but he's also talking about the shooter in your eyes. So you press, break, freeze, and even if the target moves, but you still
Come
got
right
the
a little.
reticle,
Come right a little. Yeah, you gotta be on your right.
Just look at the target. Like, press, break, freeze. Like, where the reticle was doesn't matter anymore. Look at the target, and when you see the impact, then run the bolt. If you have to mill it, then you can look and mill whatever, and then you can follow up. But if you're just like, there's so much stuff moving around,
Yeah,
that you can't like take in all that signal to your brain and make sense of it, right? So
yeah,
press, break, freeze.
right. That's our mantra. That's a Markism. Yeah.
And then see the result, run the bolt. So you see the result, and then you have to think about it. And that means, like, okay, hit here, I was aiming here, what's the difference? And then when you're running the bolt, you could calculate that, and then you shoot. But you can't do too much when your eyes are trying to resolve something very, very tiny.
Right. And it's the KYL mindset. That first plate, you're going to hesitate it on a little bit. And, your first plate, slow down a little, Rob. And then after that, then you're lining up where that hash mark is for your win call. But you really kind of need to hesitate a little bit. That freeze, got it, and then go. And like with the 6 mil at a 400-yard plate, you're milliseconds. It's going to hit fast. It's not like you're trying to get a 1,000-yard hit and seeing it a second, 2 seconds later. It's you're really only losing a millisecond watching it hit, and then you're able to run it and get on. And then what you'll find is you'll be that little bit more efficient. You'll be that slow motion guy and not the I gotta go fast guy. You'll be slow motion hit, slow motion to hit, slow motion to hit, and then the clock
And
will
there's
be.
so much upside to not running it and getting, because even with the long shots, with like the Night Force stuff, like I'll shoot and I'll eject it and I'll look. I'm ready to put the bullet in the chamber, but it's hot, so I don't want it cooking in there. When I see it, now I know, okay, that's good. I'll shoot, chamber it, and then I'll fire. But I don't. As soon as I chamber it, that means I'm ready to shoot.
Yeah.
Not leave it in there cooking. But guys like Chad Heckler and even Morgan King and a lot of those guys, let's say it's 10 positions and you could do all of them with a bag. They might bring a tripod rear for their first shot just so that it's extra stable. They see it and then they drop it and then they'll run because they're like, okay, I know the wind. And then they try to haul ass through it. But really, just look at that target and try to ignore everything else until you see what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. That would, like I said, press break, freeze, see the result, then run the bolt, and then just try to go from there. But cool. All right, guys, thanks for being on. Appreciate all of you. It's been awesome. Nice little hour and 30 minutes. Look at that. We're like dead on. We're so good. See, that's the clock. Got to know your clock, man. We usually try to do that hour and a half, and I'm within 10 seconds. Chris Hodges, who we got? Thanks, guys. Great show. I think I have 2 or 3 neighbors that would be interested in a clinic. Yeah, very cool, man. And like I said, we're getting ready and setting up. So appreciate all you guys. Appreciate Chris, everybody on. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Hide people, Robbie, CR2 dude, everybody over there, Chris Roberts. Can't say Chris. There's too many Chris's. Chris Hodge, Chris Roberts, Chris Way. There was another Chris up higher. Who was the other Chris? Chris Hodges. It's like you guys are all too many Chris's. Somebody get a new name like John. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you all soon. Where's my end button? Oh, there it is. It's hidden. I don't even know where to end it. All right, we're out of here.
Bye.
Later.